Hello? I can't hear that. Hey guys, what's up? It's Coots, back here with another tutorial. Today we'll be talking about daisy chaining. It's a very powerful mixing technique that is pretty advanced, so we can use daisy chaining for a ton of different reasons, like creating chains of effects, how the mixer is able to process input and output signals. Let's dive in. So daisy chaining involves connecting a lot of audio processors or channels in a series, one after another, kind of like a chain. So like a chain link is just everything connected together. That's how the mixer is able to route things, and it'll go through the effects and then chain to the next effect and then to your headphones or speakers. This method allows us to process our audio signal through like a sequence. The way that you place the chain or the way that you place certain effects in different orders will affect your sound tremendously. So I don't know if you in the last video when I talked about EQ and compression, I mentioned that you can place the compressor before the EQ or after the EQ, but if you do it before the EQ, the compressor won't compress or make the results of whatever you EQ'd louder. So here we have my new track, Lately. This isn't mastered, but it's a mix, and a lot of the stuff on here is daisy chained. So let's dive in. So if you're new to the mixer and say you haven't really done much, you've just watched my EQ compression video and you jumped here, fine. So we will jump in and take a look at the drums here. So I color code all my stuff. It's very important, especially if you're coming back to a song. And all of the drums are green, so they're all linked through here. So you have all the drums here. The way you can do this is if you hit Control Shift and you drag, it'll select everything in the mixer. What you'll do is you'll actually, on a blank channel, you'll right click and hit route to this track only. So that'll send all the audio signals from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all to 10. And if we play it, all the drums are playing through there. I think there's an audio clip down here. A snare and hi-hat, that's not included in this, but yeah, so all of this stuff is routed to here, and this is the drum sub bus. And then this drum bus is routed to another drum bus over this way. And you're probably wondering, like, what's the point of that? Well, for me, the way I mix is I'll route stuff to the drums. Maybe I'll change stuff here, and this will be before it goes out to the master. So any final touches that I want to make on this channel, I'll add like a limiter, EQ, or I'll raise the volume up and down, because that's kind of like your post master mix, right? And I'll do the same thing with instruments, effects, and vocals. So like, as you can see, like this drum sub bus here is also routed out to the drums reverb. So all the drums are being in a reverb effect. Oh. So yeah, it's sitting over here, and you can kind of hear it. So yeah, even the instruments are routed out too. I'll solo all this stuff so you can hear it. So all of the instruments, like the main elements, the pads, the pianos, the bass, everything is routed out to this instruments track. I don't think I routed them to a sub bus really, unless actually I did here. I didn't name it. That's my fault. So yeah, like I said, like here I'm just EQing it redundantly over and over again, and after that I send it out to the instruments track. So this is when we'll get into daisy chaining. I think the best way to visualize daisy chaining is kind of think of it as like a waterfall. So we're basically routing all of these instruments to this track, and then the audio trickles down through this chain out into your speakers, or if you're routing it somewhere else. So it'll go through this chain and then into this instruments track right here. So again, the same process follows. It'll go through the compressor first. So whatever we're doing here, we're compressing the initial signal, and then we'll do the parametric EQ second. This parametric EQ again, this one the third time. A lot of this is redundant. And then we have a sculptor, which adds a touch at the end. So if I was to add a reverb like up here above the compressor, The compressor would affect the reverb chain. Same with the parametric EQ, that would EQ the reverb that we put on it previously. And then same with the sculptor. The sculptor would also affect the reverb too. So we want to be cautious what we're doing here. Sometimes you can do really cool effects with this stuff, and sometimes you can mess up a mix completely by adding stuff like that. That's why they always say, like, if you're going to add a reverb, you put it on a second channel. Same with delay. So you're not like messing with the effects too much. You'll add the effect on, but it won't be affected by any other string of mixing effects that you put on the original instrument. And you can kind of see that here. Like, so for the drums, I have this routed out to the verb. I just went over that. The reverb for the drums is not going back into the drum bus. It's actually just going to the master, which I really should change that. But yeah, even for the instruments, verb is going out to the effects channel. So these are just going to these effects. So you know, it's all just like building blocks. So let's just move on to the vocals and we'll see what they sound like. All right, so daisy chaining is very important when it comes to vocals, because you don't want to put like a reverb on in the beginning and then you want to compress that reverb, because then it'll just sound all sorts of weird. So here, we'll just play it. She by my side, she my ride or die, yes. Trying to give us a slide. I do. Oh, the limit's the sky, doing it right this time. I can't complain, I got peace of mind. What we did here is Waves has a Studio Rack plugin, and Studio Rack is awesome because you're able to add your own daisy chain within a plugin. It gets kind of crazy here, but yeah, this is a daisy chain. So we'll have our compressor up here. I don't know what Triple D does. We have de-esser, which takes the harsh syllables out of my voice. API, which is another compressor. Vocal Rider, which adjusts the automates for the volume, so the volume will be up or down depending on the vocal dynamic. Parallel Split, which adds reverb, all these different other elements here, a doubler, and more reverb. With Studio Rack, you can actually turn these up and turn them down based on your preference of what you're hearing. This is great for beginners if you're trying to daisy chain. It doesn't do everything. It's not a one-click solution. So as you can see here, I have like a parametric EQ. I'm still EQing stuff, constantly listening for our syllables, everything. And additionally, this is something I want to go over. This is also important if you're recording vocals at home or just in general, if you have a sound that you're listening to. So this limiter here is meant to be a gate, and that's to prevent the room noise from coming in when there's silence in my vocals. So you can see here, just this small section of silence here is completely, this gate turns it down so we can't hear it as the audience. We don't hear that room noise. We don't hear my computer fan. Depending on how loud I turn my audio interface up, this isn't good to put up top because that'll cut out a lot of the important parts of the vocals, like me taking a breath in to make it sound normal. So that's why this daisy chain thing is kind of important, because depending on the order of where it's at and how well the vocal is, or the volume of the vocal in general. So after that, we have a declicker. So this, sometimes when I speak, my tongue will hit the roof of my mouth, or let's say like my jaw pops or something in my nose makes a weird nasally noise that like clicks, who knows, whatever it is. This will actually remove the clicks from the audio. She by my side, she my ride or die. And then this plugin here is just an auto-tune plugin, straightforward, nothing crazy. If I added this in the beginning, I don't think it would change that much. But after I'm done processing all of that, I route it to another channel. And then this channel is compressed again. So we smush the vocals a little bit more. And then we add a reverb on top of that in a separate channel. So it's routed to a sub bus. That sub bus is routed to a reverb. Reverb goes to the effects. Voila. So at the end of your mix, when you have a pretty consistent sound and you're very happy with stuff, you can listen to the mix as a whole, adjust, your drums, your instruments, effects up and down, and your Vox, because when you're at the end of the mix, you don't want to change every single slider. So when you group them all together, it makes it so much easier towards the end. So there you have it. This is basically just like mixer routing and daisy chaining, but hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please leave a comment down below or hit that subscribe button, bell notification. I don't know. I'm not an influencer, whatever. But I'll see you next time for the next tutorial. Thanks.
By my side, she my ride or die, yes. Trying to give us a slide. The limits of sky, doing it right this time. I can't complain, I got peace of mind. Lately I've been feeling like myself, focused on the better of my health. Yeah, if you haven't done that yet, need to have that conversation with yourself.